Back to At Home. We started the show today talking about older homes and things that were, of course, a problem with older homes. Now, a lot of people are under the impression that a new home means it's worry-free, it's trouble-free, but Tom Vattovaz is a home inspector, and that's not necessarily the case, right, Tom?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay, we get involved in doing a lot of new home inspections, brand spanking new homes that builders have put together to put on the market for sale. In some cases, they're custom homes, and so they've been designed and built for the individual. And in other cases, they're spec homes where they're just simply put together. We call them cookie box
and
house homes.
Put together very quickly these days, aren't they?
Absolutely.
It's amazing how quickly a home can go up now. You blink and there it is.
Yeah, but I think it's important too for again people to do their research, because there are people that are doing this that are good and some that aren't so good, right? So it's good to do a little research, find out about the builder and whether or not they have a good track record and whether there have been complaints against them even before you start looking at some of their product, right?
Absolutely, Matt. You know, doing research on a builder is very, very important, because you like to know that he's got a good reputation, that he's been around for a while, and you know that he uses good subtraits and puts a good product together. And even at that, you know, there's subtraits that simply tend to neglect, you know, the type of workmanship, or they want to just get in and out, and that's the problem nowadays. You know, trying to get in and out as quickly as possible, and that's where the profit margins are greater.
Well, what are you finding some of the more common problems in new homes then?
They're primarily related to, you know, things like structure, and when I say structure, I mean foundation.
Let's look at some pictures, because I know you brought some pictures, and they'll probably give us a pretty good indicator of just what kinds of things you're seeing in brand new homes.
Okay. Now, here's a situation where the attic was insulated, but it wasn't insulated quite properly. So what you're having is a bare spot of insulation in the attic area. And so there's one picture, there's another picture. So the insulation has actually been blown back. And because of this, we now have a situation where the cold air is going down and the hot air is coming up. And in this next picture, there is mold developing in that area of, in this case, it was the kitchen. And so the owners called me up and asked me, you know, we have this reoccurrence of this staining on our ceiling, and can you come and take a look at it?
I wonder what that is, right? You'd be like, how did that get there?
There you go. And it continued reoccurring, so they called me, and so I took a look at it, and I went up in the attic, and the insulation had been blown back. Now, this is new construction. This house was only 2 years old, and all we had to do in this situation is simply put the insulation back, but prevent the wind from blowing the insulation back. Okay.
Now, I know people who've purchased a new home and have had all kinds of problems with windows, with rotting around the windows, with constant steaming up. Let's face it, some builders maybe don't use the best of the best, right? So they're putting in the very basic, and you think it's great, and then you find out not too long down the road that you're not dealing with the best product, right?
Absolutely. And in fact, I do have a picture here where the brand new construction, where the insulation was not placed around the exterior of a window. There's one right there. So you can see that this is brand new construction. People were living in there. So what was happening is a lot of moisture was getting into the house, and it was getting in through the windows, and the lack of insulation around the windows, doors, and there was a lot of condensation developing in the house. So at this next stage, they were going to put a wall surface, be a vinyl surface over that, and they weren't insulating around the window perimeter. So this was going to cause a lot of future problems.
And you can see how a lot of people, again, with that mentality of moving into a new home, oh, there shouldn't be any problems, and also just being inexperienced, not having the experience you have to visually see that there's a problem, you could just kind of keep living until there actually is, as you say, like mold showing up or condensation or things like that.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's
now we have a picture. I think this one illustrates structure of a home, and again, you think with a brand new home, it should be structurally sound. This is a new home, right?
Yes. Okay. Now, foundations do crack, Matt. They all crack, and I haven't got a problem with cracking to a certain point. Now, this is excessive cracking in a foundation, and it gets to a point where, you know what, we have to take it to the next level and have that analyzed by a structural engineer, because that crack has opened up to a severe case, okay? So that needs a further evaluation.
Let's put some info on the screen. If you want to get a home inspection, go to Canadian Home Inspection, 4141 Portage Road in Niagara Falls. There's the number, CanadianHomeInspectionServices.com.
Thanks, Tom. Great to have you on the show again. Lots of really good information. I learned a lot every time you come. I'm going to be a lot more aware these days.
New or old, get a home inspection, right, Tom?
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
all right.
Tom. We'll be back to wrap up the show right after this.